The stability of West Africa is once again in focus as Ghanaian President Mahama urges regional leaders to re-engage with Sahel nations facing security and governance challenges. He also called on ECOWAS to strengthen institutional frameworks that act as guardrails for democracy, ensuring political stability, respect for constitutional order, and regional cooperation. The move highlights the urgent need for coordinated action to address rising insecurity, coups, and democratic backsliding in parts of the sub-region. Joining us now is Arise News analyst Dayo Sobowale. He will discuss the implications of President Mahama's call, the role of ECOWAS in safeguarding democracy, and what this renewed regional engagement could mean for peace, security, and governance across West Africa. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Many thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here.
And what do you make of this call by Mahama?
Well, in one breath, I would say it's an appeal for cooperation with the military juntas in West Africa. At the same time, I will say it is a dangerous call, given the nature of democracy in West Africa as at this point of now. And then, thirdly, the threat facing the Sahel is an Islamic threat. And you see some Jews were killed in Australia. And that has caused a lot of things all over the world. In fact, an American senator went on there to say that the world is fighting radical Islam. And that they are out to get Christian nations and Jews. But let's leave that aside. Let's face our own problem here. But then, see, remember, the world is a global village. What is affecting them, they are spreading down here. So what President Mahama said is, on the surface of it, a call for cooperation. But who is ostracizing who? It's not ECOWAS exercising the junta states, I will call them junta states, the three of them. It's they antagonizing ECOWAS and wanting to spread their militocracy instead of democracy. So if the president of Ghana, a duly elected president, is soliciting cooperation with the military juntas, to me, on the surface, it's as if he's trying to commit political suicide. Because all West African states have the military protecting them. And this had happened before, in the 60s. It happened in 66, so the Ghana happened before us the same year. And then this spread, this contagion spread before we had a comeback to democracy, because we discovered that the soldiers were not more innocent than the civilians at corruption. They got even more adept at it. And now what we have now in our own part of the world is that we have had military presidents who have become democratic leaders. Tinubu is not one yet. It's not one of them. But you see, that call on the surface of it is for cooperation, but it is suicidal. Because I think it was a retired police inspector general who said soldiers should not be seen, should not be too visible. And what he was trying to prevent, or could not say so many was that over-presence of military around democratic institutions and the democratic setup can lead to unexpected military intervention. So, on the surface of it, the president of Ghana means well, but he should know the danger inherent in that. And then, it is the military juntas who have to find a way to survive without going back to democracy that are to be appeased or restrained or eliminated altogether if we want democracy to prevail. So those are the choices. Let's leave it at that for now.
Very interesting. And in terms of timelines, how quickly do you feel like ECOWAS can actually get a handle on the bloc so that other countries don't go in the direction of Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger? How quickly can they, mobilize forces, troops, what they need to do to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
Well, they have tried their best, but it is not easy. It's a regional, you can't mobilize a whole region with Francophone, British, English background. You can't mobilize them just like that. Tinubu tried it when the people in Niger came in, but they discovered that his hands were tied because of our cultural, religious connection between the North and Niger. So he could not move. But he tried his best in Guinea-Bissau, you get me? And he has done his best too. But you see, the two strongest power states in West Africa now, Nigeria, we can take Nigeria, then we can take Ivory Coast. We have almost similar problems with the Ivory Coast. The president of Ivory Coast was when he came, he was a diplomat representing Ivory Coast in the United Nations. But when he wanted to contest, they told him he was not a legitimate citizen of that place. He had to fight through that. Now he has done 2 terms and introduced a 3rd term. So, you see, the way we practice our democracy will determine how democracy will prevail over military intervention. If we practice our democracy with electoral integrity and the politicians deliver on the promises they make to people at campaigns, then people will defend them if the military come to assist them. But if they do not do that, like we have seen in the past, people will jubilate when they are overthrown. Yeah? Just like people jubilated when even the military too are overthrown by another military issue. So it is not a clear-cut thing. But you see, I hate to be referring to this outside influence. You see, the West itself now is divided between those who want conservative ideology and those who have liberal ideology.
Yes.
You may not think it's simple, but this LGBTQ has polarized their society.
Indeed.
And the war in Gaza too has polarized their society.
Yes.
You can see that some states, led by Australia, get me, have recognized Hamas. You get me? Not that they recognize Hamas, but they are saying that there should be 2 states in Israel. Given the Palestinian state. That was an anathema to the regime led by Obama and Biden. In fact, Trump has said that they are the people responsible for what is happening now.
Yeah.
But they are coming to this part of the world. Because when you accuse us of genocide against Christianity, that division there is arriving at our doorsteps.
True.
It's of great concern to me.
Of course, all right, so Mr. Sobowale. In about a minute, we've seen ECOWAS condemn coups numerous times, but they haven't had a similar voice, or they've not condemned as many as strongly as they have when it comes to term limit manipulations and election rigging to an extent. Is the bloc's credibility too damaged to give anyone a lecture about what democracy should be in ideal terms?
No, in practical terms. That's what I just said now. That's what they have to make democracy appealing to the masses that put them in power. And you can only do that by performing and raising the standard of living of people and making sure that they come in free and fair election. Otherwise, those who put them there and feel they are not taking care of them, we will welcome any intervention from the men in khaki and guns. That is just it. And it is not, you see, you have a regional bloc. It's like a confederation. You can't pull everybody together. Tinubu learned that with Niger. But he has moved better on other spheres. But then there's an outside force coming in now on religious ground. And we must be preparing for that. Because that is going to dictate the nature of our democracy, whether it swerves towards military intervention or it remains democratic as it should be. Government of the people, by the people, for the people.
Sam.
Yes.
On that note, Mr. Dayo Sobowale, thank you very much for joining us as always.